How's it going, dudes? Welcome back to the Q&A series, which still doesn't have a name yet, so if you want to leave a suggestion down in the comments below, I'd really appreciate it. The Q&A series is a Q&A series where you guys ask me questions in the comments of the previous episode, and then I try to answer the most I can in this episode. And if you'd like to appear in the next episode, feel free to leave a fun question down in the comments below, and maybe, just maybe, it'll get picked for the next one. Starting off, we have a really great question from Sophie. How do you get good at mock building? I've been building Lego for years, but I'm never satisfied with my mock results. I also struggle with this a lot, especially on Lego Masters, but that had a little bit of a different scenario, given that we have a limited amount of time to actually build a mock, and you don't have a lot of time to polish it once you're all said and done with it. But even still nowadays, like when I'm home building on my time, I'll get done with a mock and I'll find, things about it that I don't like, things I wish I designed better. And it really just comes down to like, you can either keep trying at it or just accept it for what it is now and just know that you'll eventually get better at it. Or maybe you have too high expectations for yourself and maybe you gotta bring them down a little bit. I know I do that a lot myself, and it's brutal. Now, I'm not going to say I'm that good of a mock builder. I'm not going to even say I'm that good of a builder in general. I just do the best I can given the resources that I have. But it all just comes down to trial and error. Practice makes perfect, and just remember to have fun. That is the whole point and reason of why we do all of this with the Lego, is to have fun. Don't stress yourself out too much when it comes to mock building. Next question is from Dubwub. He asks, is there any set you regret buying? Great video, by the way. Thank you. Looking back at it, I recently did a Lego question of the week where Joey and I asked y'all what is a Lego set y'all regretting, and my answer was the 2019 Millennium Falcon. I now have the UCS Falcon, which I haven't built yet, but I really don't need a playscale Falcon that's close to that color scheme anymore. I still have the Solo Falcon, which is unique enough where I feel like, you know what, yeah, I like that set. Is white and blue, is different, so I'm gonna keep that one in collection, but I do see myself probably selling off the 2019 one here in the near future. Flaxy asks, have I attempted building a Mandalorian mock? Not yet. It's something I'd like to maybe take a stab at here in the near future, especially because I do have a good bit of Mandalorian figures. I mean, I got Garsax, and I got that Darth Maul, I got Pre Vizsla, I have a good couple of Mandalorian Death Watch soldiers, and I always really liked that Mandalorian arc in the Clone Wars, and I definitely would love to, maybe build something from it, but until then, I don't see myself building one anytime soon, but maybe. I like the architecture. They got pretty cool stuff. Schaefer asks, who is my favorite McTaurin? It's gotta be Jowler. Now, back in 2001, the first Lego Bionicle sets were the McTaurins. They were released in McDonald's Happy Meals. Now, this is a toy that is older than I am. I was born in 2002. These things came out in 2001. And I ended up finding Jowler. Now, this isn't the exact set. I did modify the crap out of the torso to make it more posable, but I remember finding this guy sealed in his original McDonald's poly bag at an antique store for like $5. I got home, I debated about opening it, and I just said, you know what, it's a toy and I want to play with it. And this was like years ago. I had it been probably 8 or 9. But I found him, I opened him up, and I played with him quite a bit, and I still mess with him every now and then till this day. So yeah, it's got to be Jowler. Anthony Feta asks, so since you have a swag Yoda, would you want to make a snazzy Yoda? Lol. I think we're gonna stick with the swag. I mean, he's pretty swagged out right now with the swag glasses, and I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it? You know what I'm saying? Dark Frost asks, are you excited for the new Indiana Jones theme returning? Yes, I am. I'm looking very forward to getting these Indiana Jones sets. I actually, some of my first Lego sets growing up were some of the Indiana Jones sets back in 2008 and 9, and I absolutely love playing with them. I'm a big fan of the movies growing up, so to have those Lego sets to be brought back for the new generation, I think is super cool because they are great movies, and I'm looking forward to adding them to the collection for sure. Christine Allen asks, if I could do a Lego Masters challenge from either season 1 or 2, which one would you choose and why? Ethan and I have both talked about this multiple times, and I think we both came to the conclusion that the hanging brick challenge just sounds really cool. Having one brick to build off of, just the idea, the concept is just like, that's so freaking cool. And I don't know and it just, I don't know, it piques my interest quite a bit. I don't know what we would build, either probably a floating island, a flying castle maybe. I think someone did a giant turtle, and it's just, I don't know, I love to maybe try it out for myself one day. I don't know how I would do that in my room or what parts I'd use, but I could definitely see myself doing something based off that challenge. Meredith asks, what is my favorite illegal building technique I've used in my builds? And most recently, it has to be, I used the skim wing to build a Spinosaurus, and I used one of the wings to make the spine for the Spinosaurus. And technically, I think it is an illegal building technique. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to assume that it is. The wing that makes up the spine isn't attached via anything. It's being held in by friction between multiple layers of bricks. You can kind of see it with the tail there. It's going straight through the back, and it's just being held in with friction. And if I really want to, I could probably pull it out, but it's a pain in the butt to get it back in there, so I'm not going to. But yeah, I think this is gonna have to be my, from recent memory, probably my favorite build technique. Dan asks, if I could make my own Lego theme, what would it be? And I've given this question a lot of thought, and I get asked it every now and then. I always say some sort of kaiju giant robot fighting monsters theme sounds super interesting to me. I feel we haven't had a standalone mech driven theme since Exoforce, and when it comes to mechs, we see a lot from Monkey Kid and Ninjago and Marvel now these days, but I feel like a standalone kaiju, big robots fighting big monsters, growing up, I loved watching the Godzilla films. It's kind of what I grew up on, and I'd love for Lego to take a stab at it with a theme. Alina Land asked, what was the best part of being on Lego Masters, and what is something surprising about you people wouldn't know just by looking at you? So you got kind of a bit of a two-part question there. First question, what was the best part about being on Lego Masters, I think, was just the people and the interactions I had with the other contestants from season 3 and the holiday special. I now, thanks to Lego Masters, have lifelong friends and people I can rely on and talk to pretty much almost whenever, and the amount of connections I made and the experience and the wisdoms that the other contestants passed on to me and Ethan is something that, I'm going to live with forever, and I'm internally grateful. Also, having all those bricks to build with is surreal. And then when it comes to something that surprising about people that wouldn't know just by looking at me, I used to be a semi-competitive TCG player for Pokemon. Right before the pandemic hit, my old hobby before getting back into Lego was I used to just play Pokemon TCG. I travel to tournaments in my local area. Every now and then I go out of state for a tournament and compete for championship points that would lead up to a world championship that ended up getting canceled. It was supposed to be it was going to be held in London, and then eventually it did, but by that point I was back into Lego, and Pokemon was just something of the past for me. Perry asked, if I could create a set, what would it be? Hands down, I'd love for Lego to make a Adventure Time treehouse. Adventure Time is my favorite show, I'd say my favorite show of all time. And I think it'd be really cool to get a little ideas or like icons kind of style set of the treehouse with all the iconic figures from Adventure Time. That's something I would love to see one day. That, or some sort of Lego set that's released to the public that's Lego Masters related. Just an idea. Jacob asks, thoughts on Ninjago Monkey Kid? I do have one Monkey Kid set. It's the Bone Demon that glows in the dark. I had to have it because it glows in the dark. That's freaking sick. And when it comes to Ninjago, I've always been off and on with it. I haven't collected the sets the last couple of years, but I remember getting, I have most of the Master of the Mountain sets and most of the Island sets from those seasons. And of course, I grew up with the theme and always watching the show whenever I get a chance to. It came out when I was a kid, so it's very nostalgic for me, and I'm happy that it's still running to this day as a theme. A little sad that the show ended, though. I feel old now. Swiss asks, what's the weirdest Lego brick I own? This is a great question. I don't know how this ended up in my collection, but I have this half-molded white Lego brick. As you can see, it did not get enough plastic in the injection mold. I'm trying to get it in frame. The sun's coming in at a horrible angle, but I don't want to close the blinds because that would ruin the rest of the lighting. But this is what is called a short shot Lego piece, where essentially the mold was short of plastic, and somehow this made it through the Lego set bagging phase where they bag up all the pieces. Typically, stuff like this is not supposed to go through and get released to the public, but somehow it ended up in my collection. How? I honestly cannot remember and cannot tell you. I was just sorting through my white pieces one day and I found this. I don't know how old it is or what it's worth, but it's probably the coolest piece in my collection. It's kind of looks like it's a melting brick. But that's going to be it for this episode of the Q&A series, which still doesn't have a name yet. I really need to come up with one. I greatly appreciate all the support I've been getting on my YouTube videos. I'm really trying to grow this channel this year. It's one of my big goals for 2023. So I do appreciate all the comments and the likes and all the new subs that are coming towards the channel. This is just me being real with y'all. Now, if you want a chance to be featured in the next episode of the Q&A series, be sure to leave a fun Lego question down in the comments, and maybe it just might end up in the next episode. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Hope you have a great day. Peace.